Jason.
I'm Steffen.
This is Tennessee Mountain Homestead, and today we're back out in the shop to work on some tractors. Now, as some of you guys know, I've been heavily focused on this 1967 Sears Custom 6 that I named Blackout. And that's on hold right now because I'm waiting on a bunch of parts in the mail to do the steering. So, in the meantime, as I've been working on this tractor, Steffen has been in the background working on his wheel horse. He's done some pretty significant modifications to this tractor in the recent past, and before he gets too far along, I thought it would be a good idea to bring you guys up to speed. The first and biggest modification that he's done is he's taken out the stock Kohler Magnum 10 horsepower and he's replaced it with a Kohler M18 or 18 horsepower opposed twin. Now, he did this because this motor right here cannot pull his tractor in a higher gear range. I'd say, what is it, third?
Second and third.
Second and third low or high? High. Second and third high. It can't pull up the mountain trails. By the time he starts at full throttle and gets up to the top of some of our trails, this thing is barely chugging along. I'm gonna cut in a video of that right here. So as you can see, this thing does not have the horsepower to do it. He even tried to put a slide carburetor on this recently and it just didn't work out for him. I didn't help him, but whatever he had going on with it, it just wasn't working out. But that slide carburetor currently is residing on the opposed twin and it seems to run great. So let's get into it. Come on over here. Is this hood ready to open? Nope. Oh, well. All right, stand by. All right, so I tried to open the hood, but I had forgotten that we no longer can open the hood normally because that brings me to my next point. Steffen added or is adding a winch, and the way it's mounted, it prevents the hood from opening on the hinge anymore. So when this thing's all said and done, we're gonna work on this some today, but it's gonna have a quick release pin that goes through it, so we can pull the pin and just pick the hood up off of here. We'll have some quick releases for the headlights and stuff like that. The same thing we did with the Mud 11. So anyways, give me another 30 seconds and we're gonna show you the motor. All right guys, here it is. So Steffen acquired this Kohler Magnum or M18, 18 horsepower opposed twin from a friend of ours, and he got a really good deal on it. You know, basically paid almost nothing for an actual motor that is operational. He had to get a carburetor for it, which he chose a, what's it, a 30?
30 millimeter.
It's a 30 millimeter Amazon slide carburetor. And what we need to do to this to get it running, well, it already runs. It runs. So it does have an oil leak in the side cover and it needed a fuel pump, which he has. So what we're gonna do is put a fuel pump on it. We're gonna take this thing off, back out of the tractor, set it over on a bench, and we need to take the side cover off of it. He's got gaskets for it and a whole gasket set that he bought. And we're gonna replace the gasket. We're gonna take the governor guts out of this thing so we'll no longer have any semblance of having a governor in it. We'll put that together with the gasket. Hopefully there's no more oil leaks. Then we're gonna get this thing back in here and I need to fab up some exhaust. And he's got a motorcycle or ATV muffler. Where's that?
Right over here.
All right, so he got one of these motorcycle mufflers and I'm gonna use 1-inch EMT to pipe 2 into 1. And hopefully it'll sit somewhere out here outside the hood. So that's the game plan. Otherwise, this motor happens to sit as far as off the frame at the correct height, the same as that old Magnum 10 sat. So we didn't have to mess with the belt guides or anything. We do need to add, I need to weld a piece in on this side over here and do something to catch the last stud on the motor for the bolt hole, because that one landed on these frame stiffeners or these axle supports that we put in. So he wasn't able to put a piece of angle iron back there. So yeah, we're gonna get this engine running because it happened to have snowed outside like crazy for the yesterday all day long. It snowed. There's about 6 inches out there on the ground. And before it melts, we want to try to take this thing out and rip it. All right guys, a little update with this motor. So I have zero experience with these things, and we thought that by taking off this cover, it would expose the inside of the block and we'd be able to take out the governor and all that. Well, that's not going to happen because these things are built, you can see there's a seam right down the center here. And then the two halves are bolted together. And we're not taking this whole thing apart just to get at that. So we're gonna send it how it is. We're gonna just take off that contraption and zip tie the shaft or something so it can't sit there and shake back and forth. I don't even know what's inside there, but we'll disable it that way. He had to take this off anyway because it was leaking oil, so he has the correct gasket. He's just trying to get off. Someone's been in here before and there's RTV, so he's scratching that RTV off right now and cleaning it with some chemicals. And then we're gonna put a gasket back on there, bolt it back up, and then it's going back in the tractor. So while he's doing that, over here, what we've got is where he's mounted it. So the footprint of the engine, he had to add this piece of channel right here and space it off the frame to catch this bolt. And there's this one back here he left out because it lands right on top of this that we put on his tractor last year to put these axle stiffeners in it. So what I'm gonna do is put a piece of 3/16 plate right over this, and I'll probably just weld it right to the side of the frame. And then wherever the bolt ends up being, I think it's right on top of the edge of this. So wherever that happens to be, we'll mark it, we'll take the engine back off, and what I'll do is I'll drill through, I'll put a stud there, and I'll weld the stud to the plate that I put here. We'll put it back on, we'll weld it, make it, you know, it'll work. And then when we set the engine back on it, all we gotta do is screw a nut down over on that stud. That'll take care of that problem. And we're gonna send it like that. So we'll see you back in a second. Some of you guys might recognize this piece. This is from one of those Sears Customs. This is the clutch mechanism that bolts to the back of the engine. But I don't have any 3/16 plate left. This was in the scrap pile. So now I do. That's the best thing about saving them old parts, is it's free metal. So this is gonna sit, it just happens to be perfect. There's a 3/16 lip that just sits perfectly there. So I gotta cut off, there's a little bend in it. I gotta cut that off and just clean this thing up, and we'll set it, like I said, we'll set it on there, we'll set the engine on it, mark where the stud goes, and take care of it like that.
Rising through the ashes and I'm crossing the waters, breaking all the limits, then I'm pushing it harder, striking every match, light it up where it's dark now, just ain't enough for me.
It's been a few minutes and we had the engine back on the tractor, and I have my plate that I cut out of that old Sears clutch mechanism. So I've got my 5/16 stud in the vise with a nut on it to help it kind of be 90 degrees when I push this plate down on top of the nut. And if you see here, I ground down the stud so that when I put the plate over it, the weld can get all in there and hopefully melt the stud to this plate. Now I also took the grinder, and I ground a concave dish in the bottom of this plate too, so that I'll have some material, because we're gonna be bolting. There's gonna be force on this. The engine, we're gonna tighten the nut down, and the engine's gonna be pulling up on this stud. So it's gotta be somewhat strong. It's better than nothing, that's what I figure. So, let's go, let's get it done. So we had the engine on there. We had this plate that I made bolted to the engine. We bolted the engine down in the engine bay where it belongs. And then while it was in here, I came in and I tack welded this plate to the frame. Now we took the engine back off, obviously, and I'm gonna give it a couple more welds to make it solid right through here. Maybe maybe just weld the whole thing. But that's what we got, and now our engine will have all 4 bolts.
In this land of broken hopes and dreams, someone cries out in the distance. The smell of burning tires and gas. Evil dwells in every alley.
We got the engine all bolted back in. We used grade 8 5/16 fasteners, except for the one I welded. That was a regular grade 5 stud that I welded in there. But we got nylon lock nuts, washers, everything's grade 8 except for that back corner. Now, we've got the belt guide bolted back in. This is the one that we made for the Kohler 10, and I was pretty impressed, or surprised actually, that this motor has the same exact height off the deck, and not the basic footprint, but what's going on here is the pulley is in the exact same place as the Kohler 10 was as far as off the frame rails. So that was pretty pleasant. We didn't have to redo the belt guide or anything. So we've got a PCV hooked up to it, which is basically a fuel filter from a carburetor from Amazon that we didn't use, just shoved in there, so it's gonna vent to atmosphere. Steffen is putting on this tin, which this motor was missing the cylinder head tin cover that, so the air can blow over the head. Well, it was missing that piece, and he made this out of a piece of aluminum. Some diamond plate aluminum that we had left over. So it's gonna have proper airflow. Now what's next is, what do we gotta do, Steffen?
Use the headers and the gas pedal.
We gotta come up with a gas pedal, which is probably gonna be a BMX bike brake handle. We gotta make a cable for it, and we need to make some exhaust headers. Now, we jumped into this not long after lunch, and it's gonna be dark in about an hour here. So this is gonna we're gonna work on this into the evening. We're gonna maintain some radio silence, and we'll see you guys when we're done. And the next thing you'll probably see is a quick overview of what we did, and then we're gonna take this thing out and test it out. Last update for the night. It's gonna be 8 o'clock soon, and we've been out here messing with this. So Steffen got his gas pedal kind of where he wants it. we're gonna mount it right to the floorboard right here. I've already welded it to a piece of like sheet metal, and it's the ATV handlebar that the ATV frame I bought for the Sears. So I saved the handlebars. It just so happens a BMX brake is the same diameter. So we got this fitted up. He likes that. And then Steffen, if you would, take off the hood. I started the process of building an exhaust header system. And that's what we got so far. So as you can see, we come up out of the head, come around, the exhaust pipe's gonna come straight out of here. Get that muffler right there. Yeah, this is gonna be like this, right out from under the hood. And then obviously we're gonna have another pipe coming out of here. We built these little custom flanges at a 3/16. And the other pipe is gonna come up out of here and twist, bend around, and it's gonna come right under this one. And I'll have to oval them out the same way I did it with the Predator. And they're both gonna fit in the back of this 2-inch tube together. We'll get it all sealed up with weld. It'll have two, so it'll be supported. We'll figure out some other way to support it if we think it needs it. And then it'll get header wrap. So, like I said, that's gonna be it for tonight. I don't even have any more EMT in here, so we're gonna have to go hunt some down in the barn tomorrow. But anyways, we'll see you tomorrow in the morning. What's up, guys? It's the next morning. Got a bright and early start. Still working on the exhaust, but it's gonna be quick, it's gonna be simple. It ain't gonna be the prettiest thing. Steffen's buttoning up some stuff underneath the back of the tractor. We're gonna have this thing up and running hopefully shortly, so stay tuned. All right, this is quick and dirty, but it's happening. If we ever want to make different exhaust, we can, but chances are this is going to be permanent. So we got this 2-inch exhaust pipe, muffler. It's going to sit just like that. I think it looks pretty good. So I got to take the exhaust off of the tractor to weld completely around the flanges to the pipe. And then we will weld this insert to the end of the pipes. And our exhaust is almost done. It's been a couple of hours later. We did have a little bit of troubleshooting to do. No big deal, but we got this thing running pretty good. Steffen has some more tuning to do with it, but he's already gone out and driven it around some, and it idles up and down, and the throttle works pretty good. So without further ado, let's crank it up and take it outside. So we're gonna put the hood back on and then go take it outside. I think the exhaust pipe, the way the muffler sticks out, came out pretty good. What do you think?
I like it a lot. That looks great.
Alright, that's going to do it for the video. The wheel horse got a major upgrade. It came out great. So Steffen has some more dialing to do, some more tuning with the carburetor, some more little minor issues, tie wrapping some things out of the way, getting it all situated. But for right now, this thing runs pretty good. And I'm actually impressed with the throttle response it does have. So the next thing we're going to do is he's going to have to get the winch on that, but he's waiting on a bunch of stuff he ordered from eBay. There's a fuse block coming because he's got some electrical, he's got some switches. Right now it starts and stops with toggle switches. There's no key, nothing like that. So that's in the future for the wheel horse, and we're definitely gonna get this thing out, and once it's all 100% good to go, we're gonna tap this thing up on the trails. There'll be plenty of video of it. I gotta get back to this, hopefully next weekend. Today's Sunday. My parts are supposed to be rolling in by the middle of the week, the steering rack and some other stuff I ordered for it, the shaft, the UV joints. So I'll get back to this full steam. Otherwise, if you guys are new to the channel, please like, comment, subscribe. I love it. I love comments. Comment down below, existing viewers, all that. Let me know what you guys think of this, how it came out. I know the mufflers, exhaust pipes are a little bit wild, but it is what it is. All I have to bend that stuff with is a EMT hand bender. So, are you guys ready to do something?
Yeah.
You guys ready to go ride?
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, we're gonna get out in that snow, what's left of it, and go ride some. And as always, I'm Jason.
I'm Steffen.
I'm Jason. And I'm Joe.
This is Tennessee Mountain Homestead, and we'll see you on the next one.